Here's my latest acquisition. It's a Saba tube radio. This is a Saba Freiburg model W2. The Freiburg were the top of the line radios and from the Saba brand, and 1952. So we have FM, shortwave, long wave and medium wave. It's a beauty. I received it today. Packing was excellent. I've got to thank the gentleman who sent it to me from Germany. Brilliant job. There seems to be no damage from the shipping. More often than not, there's scratches or broken chassis or broken knobs or what have you. So far, I have seen nothing. Everything seems to be in pretty good shape from the exterior. The knobs seem fine. The piano switches, I see there are actually two tones on the piano switches, so they've been changed somewhere along the line. The dial is impeccable. No scratches, no breaks. All the woodwork is in excellent condition, with the slight exception of a little scratch that obviously happened there. This one looks good. Here's the back end. The back plate is perfect. This is starting to look suspicious. Everything looks too good to be true. There's no tears in the back plate. All the printing is still clear and legible. No repairs evident. I'm almost afraid to open it. All you need to do is take off 2 screws down here, one there, and then you pull this down. There are 2 clamps over here, and you just pull it down and it comes off. There we go. So that's down. Everything looks very good. It's got a standard 2-prong European plug on there. This is a DIN 3-prong connector. I would assume, what has he done here? This is going in the back here, so there's actually 1 wire loose here. I would assume this was used as some sort of either the gramophone input, which is what it's supposed to be, or some other type of input, but it's there. It's very, very clean. Very clean. There's the FM section. Both valves are in there. I'm looking for the nasty surprises and I don't see them, which is a good thing, but it also leaves me a little bit worried. It's almost too good to be true. The filter can, a Siemens filter can, and it's isolated from the chassis. So this obviously has some sort of fixed bias arrangement going to the valves. The power transformer, look at this, it's still shiny. And it's got a 240 volt option, which is great for me because contrary to the spec, I'm supposed to have 220 in the house, but it's actually more like 235. So that'll save me having to put in some series resistors to drop the voltage down to something more manageable. This is impeccable. Look at those speakers. They are perfect. Wonder if he kept this in some sort of warehouse and didn't use it. 18th February 1953. Well, there's the date. Here's another date, 10th February 1953. There we have the serial number. Look at the chassis. It's in perfect condition. Almost a shame. What am I going to do to it? I'm sure I'll find something. No modern components in sight. Some of those black Saba caps are there. They'll need changing, definitely. Those things leak like crazy. Some more Saba black caps over there. There's another one. Anybody who's worked on these will tell you that these German radios can be quite a challenge to restore electronically, because the circuitry can be quite complex. Some would say they're probably too complex, but once you've done one, it does tend to be less intimidating. That's still in place. Well, okay, so far so good. This one's come with the schematic inside. It's still the original. Everything is in German, but it gives you the alignment instructions for the AM and for the FM, a layout. These are the FM instructions, and the schematic. A little bit torn over there, but it's great to have these in the original format. Brilliant. Very clear and very detailed. So we can see straight away that yep, there's the dual 5 nanofarad cap between ground and the two mains lines. Those definitely have to come off and replaced with safety caps. If they go bad, they short, and they'll short one of the lines to the chassis, which is not fun. And as expected, we have a raised ground. That's why these capacitors are not, these two capacitors, these 50 microfarad and 50 microfarad, that was the can in there, they're not grounded. There's the negative points, and there's a 20 ohm resistor between that and ground. So that'll be at a slightly lower voltage below ground. Three speakers. Oh yes, one of these has a tweeter embedded in the cone. So it actually, that's why we only see two, and we do see that they are indeed different. This is a push-pull type transformer. The power transformer seems to be push-pull. I would expect this to be single-ended at that stage, but it is. They do use two EL41 power tubes, cathode biased with that 90 ohm resistor. I've done two Saba Freiburg W2s that use an EL84 and single-ended, so it's a simpler output configuration. This one is actually a push-pull type configuration. And I have found one problem with it already. It was to be expected. This wire is not tuning. when I turn the tuning dial, that wire is supposed to pull, and this is the FM tuning section. This should be pulled down and released to tune into the stations. What you're seeing there is a plunger, which is actually a plunger with some coils on, and that is the FM tuning. So this tuning function is definitely loose. This wire is loose down there. Could be something very simple. We'll see when we take it out of the chassis. As you see, the speakers aren't exactly the same. I would imagine that's the one with the tweeter in the inside. And for once, I've been looking at the finish. There are a few scratches on the lacquer, but it doesn't seem to be anything very serious. This might actually be the first radio that I don't strip completely to the wood and start again. It'll be nice to keep one with the aged patina on. Maybe this is going to be the one. We'll see. These trimmings need polishing. This is actually metal. It's none of the stick-on stuff that you get on some of the later models. This is actually a metal rod that goes into a slot in the wood, and it's glued in there. And I've read somewhere that the way to take this out is to heat it, loosen the glue, and then gently pull it up to do the polishing. We'll see how that goes. Right, we got it out of the case without too much trouble. Let's see what we've got here. We know that this FM tuning is loose, and I can see that it's slipped off there, and also all these cords, indicator dial cords, are loose. So there's obviously something, there it is, it's come off that little wheel down there. I have to put that on. So that's loose. That means the dial indicator for the FM isn't working. It might be as simple as putting it in place. We'll find out. It's also come off here. It's supposed to go over the top. First thing I'm going to try and do is get this part working. It's simple enough. You just put it through there. That one's okay. That one's okay. That's complete. This goes down here, and it's supposed to go around. And the way to do that is give it a bit of leeway by pushing this down. And there we go. Okay, it seems we have it. This is now working. These are going around here, both of them. The one at the end there was also loose, so that's been put in. It then goes through this guy over here, down around here. The other one goes around the bottom cog over there, down that little one at the bottom that was loose, and back around the top. And then on the back here we have the spring which tightens now. What I'm going to do is go back and forth a few times and let it tighten naturally. That should be it. What I like to do is to make sure that everything I remove from the radio goes into one box or Tupperware or whatever I find, because it's so easy to lose these things. It's unbelievable. Right, I've been trying to figure out what this one is. This is a tone control, but it's not a smooth tone control. It's a stepped control. It's a switched control. And what it does, there's a little cord, piano wire type cord, that goes all the way around here, down through the bottom, over there, and it comes to this indicator, which on the front will show high, middle and low. Now the switch seems to be wonky. It's not really switching, and I'm not sure if it's not functioning at all or if it's actually happening and I just can't hear it. So we'll have to test it. So there's the anxious part of me, as usual, that's dying to switch this thing on. But I have to resist just a little bit longer. I'm dying to power this up, see if there's any sound coming out of it at all. There are a few interesting things in this radio that I haven't seen on the Sabas before. And one of them is something called K-looper, which seems to be, you see here, here's the medium wave, long wave and short wave control, tuner. You can see the dial moving across. That's the top one. This little one, as we've seen, is for the FM. Now with the FM, you see the FM dial going over there. It doesn't go too far, and the faceplate confirms this. The FM dial is actually very short. That is not to say that it doesn't tune across the whole frequency range. It's just pretty short. But there's a second dial here. And what this does is when you have it on shortwave, you use the FM dial as a fine-tuning function, which is pretty cool because it's usually quite difficult to get the tuning on some of those stations, especially where I am, where shortwave is pretty weak. There's the magic eye tube. No idea if that's working. Definitely curious to find out.